The theme for tonight's event is Blast from the Past. And on behalf of the Executive Committee for the Shelby County chapter of the National Alumni Association, I extend a hearty welcome to you and thank you for your continued support. This organization is about scholarships for Shelby County students that want to attend the University of Alabama. We raise money to fund these scholarships through events like this kickoff and through the generosity of our sponsors and donors. And at this time, I'd like to recognize our sponsors. To my right, get ready to say something, Alabama Credit Union. Give me a wave. They would like to talk to you tonight if you want to get one of the best credit cards that would show your support for the Crimson Tide. They'd be happy to talk to you about it. We have Kelly Porter, Diana Simpson, Nikki Matthews, and Brooke Wood, who are in attendance tonight. Thank you, Blair. I don't know where I would be if it weren't for Blair votes. Thank you, sir. I'm kidding. Another one of our sponsors is ATG Distribution, which is formerly Birmingham Budweiser of Shelby County. And Tuscaloosa Hyundai and Genesis. Barry Buckner. And Sybil and Tom and Patsy Johnson, who are Barry's guests tonight. And these spots, go ahead. These sponsors have been very generous in their support of our chapter, and we thank them for that. I would like to bring up Christy Hudgens, who is a recruiting coordinator for Shelby County and some other counties we won't mention, and Randy Shealy, who is our scholarship chair and the vice president of the chapter. And Chrissy's going to tell you about her role in the scholarship process. Randy's going to tell you about our active scholarships that we have working right now and how the scholarship begins at the chapter level.
Like he said, my name is Christy Hudgens, and I am the regional recruiter for Shelby County. Shelby County is my largest county, but I do have 10 counties that I have all of the high schools in throughout the state. And I always just like to come and give y'all a little update on what our freshman class was like this past year. We don't have all the statistics yet, but we do have a few. We are going to welcome a little over 8,000 in this freshman class. So that is a lot of people. And we, of that 8,000, a little over 3,000 of those are in-state students. So those are both new records that we have set on campus at the University of Alabama. A couple of things I always like to mention too. We have added a few new majors that I find to be interested. We have added cybersecurity, which will be in the College of Business. And we have added neurological studies and sports management. So just a few things of note that we will be adding as possible majors at the university. So I spend the year, mostly obviously through the Christmas break, going out to all the schools and recruiting students who are interested in attending the University of Alabama. So any high school in Shelby County is my high school, and so we visit, all of the in-state recruiters visit every high school in the state of Alabama. So I will visit every high school within Shelby County, and of course all of my other counties as well. And I work very closely with Randy with all of your chapter scholarships, and he does a phenomenal job with your scholarships, and he and I identify students from each of the schools that are deserving of scholarships from your chapter. So really appreciate the work that you all do and what you do for the students. They are very appreciative. And we just had our first annual scholarship dinner a couple weeks ago, honoring these students and the and the donors who provided the scholarships for these students. And it was a great event, and Randy did all that, so we appreciate all of his hard work. And before I leave, I just want to tell y'all that your Alumni Association is so active and so great, so helpful to me as a recruiter for your county, so helpful to scholarships, admissions, and the things that you do for the students. So very appreciative of all that you all do for us and for me, and thank you all so much for letting me be a small part of it.
Hey, Christy does a great job as a recruiter, and she's right, we work hand in hand. You know, our biggest problem is we have more deserving students than we have scholarships. You know, and that really is our number one priority. We're all big football fans and basketball fans and big fans of any athletic endeavor, but the number one goal of the chapter is to help students in Shelby County attend the University of Alabama, and that's what we try to do. And the university's got a great setup. All it takes over 5 years is $25,000 to endow a scholarship that we can start paying out of. And the great thing about that is they take the card tag money and they match contributions. This past year it's 64%. Some years it's been as high as 100%. So it only takes $2,000, somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 a year for about 5 years, with the chapter kicking in some and with the tag money matched, to get to the $25,000 level. And that's really been a place where we've focused a lot of attention on. Just to give you some statistics, from 1989 to 2019, in 30 years, we started 8 scholarships. In the past 4 years, we started 11 scholarships, up to 19 scholarships that we've started in the county now. We have 15 endowed scholarships. We had 2 endowed this past year that ended June 30th, and that was the Mike Brooks Memorial Endowed Scholarship and the Frank Treese Memorial Endowed Scholarship. And we think we'll endow 2 more scholarships. The Alabama Credit Union, we're working with them right over here at this table. They're going to have a endowed scholarship at the end of this year. And we're working with the Crowson family on the Judge Daniel A. Crowson Jr. Scholarship. They're all sitting at that table. We hope we have that endowed by the end of the year. So just in the past 4 years, the market value of our scholarships have increased from $175,000 to $750,000. But the main thing is, 4 years ago, we gave out about 6,500 in scholarships, and this year we gave out about 26,500 scholarships, and we could give out 10 times that much if we want to. Our goal, we got 19, our goal is to have 25 by 2025. So if you're interested in helping in a small way, in a big way, please see me after it. If we hit 25 in 2025, I think we'll push our market value of the scholarships from $750,000 to over $1 million. So that's our goal. Please help us get there, and thanks for all you do, and thanks all the donors who are here tonight too. Thank you.
Dr. Bomar?
Hey everyone, I am Bill Bomar. I'm the Executive Director of your University of Alabama Museums, and just really thrilled to be here tonight. Want to thank all of you for all you do to support our students. Those 8,000 happy faces have arrived in Tuscaloosa, and the town is hopping, and we're always glad to see them. But just, I'll be real quick. I want to remind you all, we have 5 museums in our museum system. The Paul W. Bryant Museum, we have a table over here. You may feel like you've been to our museums and there's nothing new to see. Just in the last 2 years, Olivia Arnold, the director there, and her staff have put up new exhibits on Coach Bryant's last game, the Liberty Bowl, Bama in the NFL, Breaking Barriers, the integration of Alabama football, and a fantastic exhibit on our softball team. And they're planning a new exhibit on the basketball team. So just, there's always something new to see there. I hope you'll come. But we also have Moundville Archaeological Park, which is a nationally significant Native American heritage site. The Alabama Museum of Natural History in Smith Hall. We have the Gorgas House Museum, the oldest building on campus. And we operate our local history museum in Tuscaloosa for the city, the Warner Transportation Museum. We also have a TV show that I hope you'll watch, Discovering Alabama with Dr. Doug Phillips. Has won 4 Emmy Awards and is starting its 40th year. And we have 2 research departments. We have active scientists who research under the University of Alabama Museums. We have over $2 million in external grant funding we bring in every year for scientific research, archaeological research, all across the South. So we really connect the academic work of the university, the scholarly research that happens, with a broader public, and the university is committed to that. We feel that that research that produces incredible knowledge is not something to be kept in an ivory tower or just shared at professional meetings. It's something to be disseminated to all of us and to our children. So I hope you'll visit our museums, and when you do, say hey to our staff, because they work so hard. We appreciate all of you. Thank you.
All right. This is a moment that my wife has waited on. I made a mistake. Olivia Arnold is one of our dignitaries that I forgot to say anything. She gave me her card, and I can't believe I did it, but I just admitted, so honey, I did that for you. Andy Gothard. Andy was a defensive back in the mid-70s. Came out of Alexander City. He was a quarterback.
Want to welcome everybody to tonight's event. It's a special, special moment. It's a special moment in terms of Alabama athletics. I know Wayne introduced a lot of my teammates, but please allow me 5 minutes to talk about them. They deserve more than that. First off, Congressman Gary Palmer. He has a great story that I want to tell. He got hit so hard at practice, it's unbelievable that he can even be a congressman today. But anyway, worked so hard, and he's a good man. So if you wouldn't mind, come on up and just tell that story right there.
Every fall, we would have Eddie Conyers and someone from the SEC come in and teach us the new rules, the rules changes, and give you a little rule book. And we were supposed to study it, and then we'd all gather in that meeting room outside Coach Bryant's office and take a test on the rules. And we had a couple of players that are not here tonight. One was Buddy Pope, the other was Buddy Brown. And Buddy Pope wrote on, as the answer to one of the questions, he wrote, "I don't know the answer to this one." And Buddy Brown wrote, "I don't know it either."
Thank you, Congressman. One person I want to introduce tonight is Dr. James Sanderson, right here in the front row. And many of y'all don't know this, but Dr. Sanderson saved the life of TCU running back Kent Waldrop. The moves he made that day on the field at Legion Field. What a great story. Jerry Nolan, running back, he collided a lot with Gary Palmer, and they were just hard-nosed, just everyday go-get-'em players that just really exemplified the Alabama way. Ricky Davis, all SEC. Where's Ricky? Right here, all SEC by way of the Cincinnati Bengals. Fabulous sports attorney, best there is in the state. Murray Legg, where's Murray? Right here. Murray was all SEC, and as y'all all know, he was a member of the famous goal line stand. If there was a Heisman Trophy given for bow-legged defensive backs, Murray Legg wins it 4 years in a row. Ray Bolden, where's Ray? Right here. What y'all don't know is Ricky was a quarterback, Murray was a quarterback, Ray was a quarterback, I was a quarterback. We had too much talent to stay on the offense, unlike David Smith back there. They kept him on offense. So, but I always remember this story. Coach Oliver said to Raymond one day in the practice room, Coach Oliver, in his tone, went something like this. He said, "Raymond, if your brain was a tank of gas, it wouldn't power a moped around a BB. One of my all-time favorite players, the guy had a punch and a lick and a tackle like no other, pound for pound. He was a great guy from Tarrant High School. Lou Green, of course, they stole my line about the ugly elbow, but if you trade Bitcoin, that's your man right there. Ann Marks, her late husband was Bobby Marks, and who was the wide receiver coach when I was there, was Ozzie Newsom's coach. He was a member of the Junction Boys, if you've ever heard of those people. Of course, Wild Bill Harrison, never will forget on a punt and drill, he loses his helmet, picks his helmet up, and rather than putting it on, he did what Coach Donahue told him to do, go set the edge. He carried his helmet 45 yards down the field, running, and he set the edge. My favorite guy. And of course, we got Olivia Arnold, who, in my opinion, runs the best museum in this state. She is top-notch, 100% dedicated to the Bryant Museum, and that's one of the reasons we're here tonight. Okay, before it gets past our speakers' bedtimes, I want to just say this. We have the two people who have given the great majority of their life to making the university the best that it can be. Eddie Conyers, born in Montgomery, became a Navy man, and later settled in Tuscaloosa, and has been married for 74 years to his lovely wife, Peggy. At 95 years of age, he has officiated Alabama football for the last 61 years. And you want to know where he was at 1 o'clock today? The practice field. He was selected as the Grand Marshal of Alabama's Homecoming Parade and a member of the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame. From Namath to Bryce Young, from Musso to Mark Ingram, and from Leroy Jordan to Will Anderson, he has seen it all. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to present Eddie Conyers. Linda Knowles. At 22 years old, Linda Knowles had to make one of the most major life decisions Coach Bryant often talks about. What job would she take? As executive secretary for Coach Bryant and Coach Stallings, Linda literally ran the athletic department. Linda Knowles is Alabama's national champion for getting things done and making things work. She is the most compassionate person I've ever met in Alabama athletics. Linda was the third female elected to the Alabama A Club. The vote by the former players was unanimous. This year, at age 83, she retired, and the Faculty Senate unanimously awarded Linda an engraved stone for her outstanding tenure at the university. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only and the First Lady of Alabama Athletics, Linda Knowles. I don't know how we're gonna do this. I guess I'm gonna just get one of them started and hand them the microphone. But anyway, we just thought we'd try to cover 61 years in about 20 minutes, but that's gonna be kind of hard to do tonight. So I've just got a set of questions, and I'm gonna just give them a mic and let them talk. And I do have the flag for delay of game tonight. So the first question tonight is, how did this all, they both came to the university in 1962. 1962. So first question tonight is, how did this all start for you in 1962? Linda?
Can y'all hear me okay? Yes, ma'am. Well, I started in 1961, and my husband had decided he needed to finish his college degree. So we moved to Tuscaloosa with 2 children, and I knew I had to work. So I put my application in all over Tuscaloosa. And that particular morning, I got a phone call, and it was Coach Bailey offering me a job at the athletic department, and it was athletic thing. It's not athletics. Because we only had football. So I said, he said, can you be here Monday? Yes, sir. I didn't ask what does it pay, or what days do I work, or what hours. I said, yes, sir, I'll be there. Well, about 20 minutes later, my phone rang, and it was Pfeiffer Wire Company offering me a job. Well, I needed a job, and I was taking the first one that I was offered. So if those phone calls had been reversed, and my life and my family's life would have been so different. But we're so blessed.
How did you get started?
You know why we're here, Eddie. We're the oldest survivors.
Well, we've been married 74 years. Marriage is a great institution if you're ready for an institution. Coach Bryant came in 1958, and a guy named Gordon Pettis, who was in the SEC, he was an SEC official. Probably 59, Coach Bryant was an official in his practices. His rationale being, if we get penalties, let's get them on the practice field rather than the ball game. Anyway, Gordon went out there about 2 years, and he moved to Chattanooga. Carney Lashley, who was Coach Bryant's right-hand man, called me trying to find Gordon. And I said, Coach, Gordon has moved to Chattanooga. He said, well, I got to have an official today. Do you officiate football? I said, yes, I do. I didn't tell him that I had worked 2 high school games in my life. And one of them was on the clock. But anyway, I went, if you're familiar with Tuscaloosa in the stadium, you know where the eating place, Bama is now? That was a filling station at this time. I went in the restroom of that filling station, put my uniform on, went to practice. A little manager came up and says, Coach Bryant wants to talk to you. I can't tell you the terror and intimidation. But I went and I said, Coach, what is it you want me to do? And Coach Bryant talked low and he mumbled. And to the best of my knowledge, he said something that sounded like, don't you go what you got to like it. I ain't got a clue. But I did exactly what y'all would do. I said, yes. But anyway, the next Saturday we played a ball game. We had 0 penalties. Where Connie called me back, said, Coach Bryant wants you back out here. I said, Coach, I've got a job. I can't come out there. Carney Lashley's exact words to me was, that ain't my problem. He said, he wants you out here, and you'll be out here, and I was. And by the way, no mention of money was ever made, and none was ever forthcoming. I went after 10 years for nothing. Carney came to me one day and said, the NCAA has decreed that if you're on a practice field in an advisory or consulting capacity, you're going to have to be compensated. He said, from now on, practice will be $10. As the Lord is my witness, I thought he meant I had to pay $10. I said I got 5, can I work half for practice? But anyway, that's how it got started.
As they have told you, their career started in 61 and 62. And Alabama had a quarterback then named Joe Namath. And I wanted to get their impressions of the first time they saw Joe Namath.
Well, I was sitting at the receptionist desk and looked up, and Joe Namath walked through the doors. He had on blue jeans, a man's undershirt with the sleeves rolled up, and hair down to here. And I don't know how many of you are old enough to remember, he had on D-ring zipper boots. And you talking about a swagger. When that young man walked in, I just looked and I said, we are scraping the bottom of the Joe is the sweetest, kindest-hearted gentleman. He came back after he really became famous. He brought his children. We'd say, Joe, what you working on now? Doing a movie with Burt Reynolds, and we're about in the middle of it. And, the kindest man. You would be honored to know.
We were just at practice one day, and we looked up on the tower, and you have to understand, nobody ever touched across the tower. And we looked up, and I saw this kind of tall, stoop-shouldered guy, but young guy. And I remember I asked a guy, I said, who? I started saying, who the hell? I can't think. I said, who the hell? But remember Coach Bryant, I said, it was Joe Namath. We later learned how to pronounce his name.
This question's for Eddie, and I'm sure he's had 63 years of being on the practice field. Who's the best athlete you have seen?
It ain't you, Murray. David Smith, you didn't make the list either. I go to a lot of alumni meetings. I'm asked this question often. And not with him and Hawk, because how you going to compare John Hanna and Bryce Young? John Hanna probably couldn't throw the ball from here to that piano. Bryce Young, if he wasn't play an offensive tackle, he would be killed. So it's kind of hard to compare when you think that. But I was asked it so many times, I really sat back and very objectively thought about who could play every position and do it competently. And I think the best athlete I've ever seen that could do everything was Ozzie Newsome. In other words, Ozzie could have played defensive back, he could have punted, he could have played quarterback, but Ozzie Newsome was the best all-around athlete I've ever seen.
Lou, you didn't make the list either.
you know, we never see the inner workings. We see the team on Saturday. That's roughly what we see. I'd like for Linda to tell everybody what a typical day with Coach Bryant or Coach Stallings was.
Well, first, you had a list of their appointments for that morning. You made sure the practice schedule and the roster was done. I've often been asked when I speak, are you nervous? And I said, if you've typed a roster with Coach Bryant looking over your shoulder, you're not intimidated by anything. But working for both of those men, the key was to do it like they wanted it done and make their job easier. That's the toughest job in the world, sitting in that chair. And you think about, you've got 150, 18 to 22-year-old young men to keep in line and keep out of trouble and know where they are. So those men, even when they don't win a ball game, they are winners because they have coached players with good character.
Eddie, I'm told that you tell a story about Mal and Coach Bryant recruiting a young man in Montgomery. I'd like for you to tell that story.
The man Andy's talking about is Byron Bragg. Mal Moore and Mal told me the story. Mal and Coach Bryant go to Montgomery to recruit Byron Bragg. Mel said when they got down there, the Bragg's family had cordoned off a whole block of Montgomery, Alabama. He said they were dancing, drinking beer, singing, shooting dice, fighting, having a big party. All the women wanted their pictures made with Coach Bryant. 2 ladies got in a fight because they couldn't get the picture made with Coach Bryant. It was a big party. And Mel said when they was leaving, Coach Bryant looked over, lit the Chesterfield. He said, you know, Mal, if I was a little younger, I believe I'd stayed.
Aren't these two people just real treasures? I'm serious. Something I've wondered for many, many years, and this question's for Linda. Did Bill Curry actually have a friend throw a brick through his office window to gain sympathy for the Alabama fan base? Just kidding. Just kidding. Listen, I want you to tell the fabulous story of Mal Moore and Dude Hennessy when they were named coaches of the red and white team for the spring game. Great story.
Well, you know, our A-Day game is serious business. And the coaches are divided into the red and the white teams. So when we were brought the plays that were going to be run in the game, you were working on that, and if the opposing coach walked in, you had to make sure that that was not visible to that coach. They were very serious. They wanted to win. So it's Friday before we're playing, and Coach Brista comes down to my office. He said, come down here just a minute. So we're on the second floor of the Coliseum, big plate glass window. And down off of University Boulevard is a highway patrol car with the blue light flashing. Pulls up to the front of the Coliseum, the door opens. This figure gets out, kind of humped over, got a briefcase, houndstooth hat on, turns around, he starts up the stairs. Well, Coach Brista and Coach Hennessy and myself were standing there watching. And just as the figure gets to the top step, he lifts his hat, and it's Mal Moore. And that's the first time I ever saw Dude speechless. That 8A game was a serious thing. Coaches were evaluated just as well as the players were.
Good story. I'm pretty sure when you heard who the speakers were tonight that everybody had two questions on their mind. Who's going to be the starting quarterback in a couple of weeks? Well, we're not going to answer that one tonight, but the other one is this. Eddie has been at practice almost as long with Coach Saban as he was with Coach Bryant in terms of number of years. And I won't ask Eddie to do his best to compare Coach Saban with Coach Bryant.
I've got laryngitis. No, obviously, to have the honor of being on the field and watching these two gentlemen, I think Coach Bryant took ordinary people and made them extraordinary. He related to what he called the in-betweeners, the guys who were not quite as big, not quite as fast, not quite as strong, 90% ability that would give him 110%, and 110% was not rhetoric. He literally meant that. You give all you can give, and then you give more. I had a chance to go to, when they were building the Bryant Museum, to go watch a lot of film, because I would know some of the players. And just one example of a play, of a game, the quarterback hands the ball to a halfback, the halfback breaks the ball, he's gone for a touchdown. But the defensive back is going to have a chance to hit him and knock him out about the 15 to 20-yard line. Otherwise, he'd make a touchdown. All of a sudden, here comes somebody that knocks the defensive back into the second row of seats of the stadium. The guy goes in for a touchdown. We go back to see who made that block, and it was the quarterback. That's what I mean. He took people to give him all they got and then give him more. And you either did that or you simply didn't play. And all these guys here tonight did that. Now, Coach Saban, it may sound awfully simple and simplistic, but he believes in doing the things the right way. And I think this comes from a special I saw on television about him and his daddy, who he called Big Nick. He said Big Nick had three ways of doing things: the right way, the wrong way, and Big Nick's way. And Big Nick's way was always the right way. He told Taylor himself about cutting Big Nick tells him to cut grass one day. And he said that night before they ate supper, Big Nick asked him, "Little Nick, did you cut the grass?" "Yes, sir." "Did you trim?" "Yes, sir." "Did you sweep up the grass?" "Yes, sir." "Did you put more up?" "Yes, sir." In other words, you do things the right way. If you have to cover, if a defensive back has to cover a great receiver, and it's better to cover him on the outside of him rather than inside. In other words, have yourself between the sidelines and the receiver. That's the right way, and you do everything the right way. Again, it may sound kind of childish to say it that way, but snapping the ball for a guy holding up for a field goal, the ball got to be snapped in a certain place. You turn the laces right. In other words, you do everything the right way. And both, obviously, the state of our university was fortunate to have two coaches, not to mention Coach Stallings, who also won the national championship. But to have two coaches of that quality is just something very special for all of us here at the University of Alabama. Thank you.
Linda, tell me, if you would, about Coach Bryant's funeral. That the general, things that the general public has never known that occurred during that time.
I knew Coach Bryant wasn't well, and I had his doctor's phone number right on my telephone, so if I needed it during the day, I would have it available. He would lie down for an hour about lunchtime and tell me to get him up in time for practice, which was a scary thing, but when he passed away, I was at home, not knowing that when I left that day, that'd be the last time I saw him. I called Billy Varner and asked Billy, what's wrong with Coach? He said, well, he ate some sausage and I think it kind of made him sick. But we got the information later that he had passed away. Well, making funeral arrangements for a man that is bigger than life was daunting, to say the least. But I spent a day talking with the White House because President Reagan wanted to attend so desperately. And we worked to try to get his schedule so he could be there. But as you know, that did not work. So we're on the bus, my daughter and I, and we're proceeding down University Boulevard. And there's a black man on his front porch sweeping with tears running down his face. He had never met Coach Bryant, but that just showed what Coach Bryant meant to Alabama and to our country, really. And as we went down University Boulevard, kindergartners were lined up on both sides of the street with red hearts written on it, "We love you," and shaking the red hearts as we went down to get on the interstate. As we went under overpasses, signs everywhere, people pulled off on the side of the road, much crying because what a great man we were so blessed to have as our head coach. And he could have been anything he desired. He could have been president if he chosen to. But he loved the University of Alabama because Mama called.
Eddie, you've been at virtually every practice they've had down there. You witness all the trick plays that they're going to run during the games. You've seen that and managed to be quiet. And I've heard you tell a story about being called into Coach's office to discuss being secret when they went to the Wishbone. Would you tell that story?
Coach, I got a call one day from Coach from London. Coach Bryant wanted to talk to me. He had seen where I go to a lot of alumni meetings, and he wanted to know what I told him, or what I said, or he was going to tell me what not to say. He said, I don't want you rating any ball players. I don't want you saying he's number one, he's number two, and that sort of thing. And he gave me a list of things to not do. And I said, well, Coach, all I really talk about is the wishbone. Well, excuse me, but he said, you don't know a damn thing about the wishbone. He said, the wishbone cannot be stopped if you have an All-American center, Dwight Stevenson, who can block his man by himself where he won't require a double team block. You got a quarterback with quick feet, doesn't have to be a great athlete, quick feet, make quick decisions. And you got a big old bull fullback, Johnny Davis. He said, you can't stop the wishbone. You got one man that's got a key on Johnny Davis, and you got the quarterback coming down the line, and he's got two options. It's like 13 or 14 people playing by 12 people. But he told me real quick that I didn't know anything about the wishbone, and he was exactly right.
As we said earlier, Linda was the executive secretary for Coach Stallings. And we talk a lot about Coach Bryant, we talk a lot about Coach Saban, but Coach Stallings won a national championship too. I know she is just best of friends with the Stallings family, and I want her to take as long as she wants to. Eddie's going to keep his delay of game flag in his pocket. And I want you to tell everybody about Coach Stallings as a football coach and a person.
Coach Stallings was an interesting man because he took the best of Tom Landry, he took the best of Coach Bryant, and adapted it to himself, yet remained his own man. And that's quite a feat. That is quite a feat. And of course, Johnny changed Coach Stallings' life. And this man, you would not be able to count the number of students he paid their college tuition all across the country. And Johnny, my honey bunny, he called me my honey bunny, would get to spend the night with us. And one time we were talking on the phone, and Johnny would always tell me what he was packing. And he says, "Now, you got clean sheets on my bed?" I said, "I sure do." But two of my favorite stories about Coach Stallings. Number one, when we won the national championship, my pendant. The only thing I have really I was there for 6, and this is the only thing I have for a national championship. But anyway, General Powell, Secretary of Defense of the United States of America, came to speak to the team. And I hear him come in the side door, come down the hall, and he goes in Coach Stallings' side door. It's not going to come through my office. And I'm thinking, this famous man is on the other side of the wall. I'm not going to get to meet him. Well, in about 10 minutes, the door opened. Coach Stallings brought General Powell in. He said, "Sir, I want you to meet my secretary, Linda Knowles." And so I shook hands with General Powell, and I said, "General Powell, it's certainly an honor to meet you, and I just want you to know that Coach Stallings follows my order to the letter." And my other story, Coach Stallings, he always wanted a raccoon. And so, one of his friends brought him a raccoon who was about 5 weeks old, and brought him to the office. And if you get one that young, you can get them accustomed to human touch. Coach Stallings trained that raccoon. He opened the door. He said, "Come in here just a minute. I want you to sit down." He put the raccoon in my lap and handed me a baby bottle and said, "Feed him. I've got to go to staff meeting." And when you get through, just put him in the bathroom and close the door. Well, I'm thinking, if this doggone thing dies on me, what makes this happen? So I kept checking. And the little thing fell asleep on Coach Stallings' shoe. But they built a cage for Gerald on the back porch of their house. And we called it the condominium. Coach could call that raccoon down out of a tree, and he would be in the office and walk down the hall, and that raccoon would be right at his feet. This is the picture. Gerald Stallings on my shoulder. And one other thing, Olivia was so kind. Oops. Coach Coach Bryant had houndstooth hats made for the secretaries. You can see the lining is exactly like his houndstooth hat. And Olivia, I donated it to the museum years ago, and she's done a wonderful job of preserving it. So I wanted you to see what Coach Bryant did.
Question for Eddie. Can you tell from practice when an Alabama team is dialed in and ready to play? Did you know beforehand that Alabama would beat Nebraska in the 60s, or Alabama would beat Southern Cal in the 70s, or Miami in the 90s, or Texas in the 2000s from being at practice?
Just one game in particular, the Miami game of '92, which, by the way, my all-time favorite Alabama game of all time. I would almost bet my life that Alabama was going to win that game. And if you remember, Miami was no easy team. Toretta, their quarterback, had won the Heisman Trophy that year. And they were a tough, bad ball club. But Brother Oliver, who was at practice, by the way, the other day, and I talked to Brother, he's living in Tuscaloosa now. Brother Oliver set up a defense where he would take all 11 men, put them on line of scrimmage, and have some of them drop back. But Toretta didn't know where he was half the time. But that was my all-time favorite game. And of all the games that I thought we would win, when we were a pretty heavy underdog, I would bet my life I would go in there. I don't know where David's going to ask me this, and where the Andy's going to ask me this or not, but we haven't talked too much about Coach Slavin. I got to tell y'all a quick story about his first. Can I do that, Andy?
Absolutely.
Okay. The first year he was there, we have 4 officials out of practice. Coach Saban comes out and we do a 2-minute drill. He gives them 1 minute and 37 seconds. You got 2 timeouts. You got to have a field goal. You got to have a touchdown. He said it's a 2-minute drill to see how you manage the clock. Well, it's 3rd down and 8, and Mark Ingram, early part of Coach Saban's career at Alabama, Mark Ingram hits in there for about 2 yards. It's clearly 4th down. And so I'm doing 4th down. Coach Saban came by and said it's 1st down. I said, Coach, it's not a 1st down, it's 4th down. He didn't make a 1st down. He said, I said it's 1st down. I think we got to get this straight right now. I said, I know you the head, I didn't tell him this, but I think if you're the head coach and we're going to do what you say, but when we do a thing like a drill, what should be like a real ball game, I'm the referee, and we'll do it the way I say. And I wasn't the least bit afraid of him. I walked right up to him, I looked him dead in the eye, and I said, 1st down.
Linda, you have a wonderful story on an Alabama player named Kareem McNeil. Would you tell that to our audience, please?
Kareem McNeil. I want to be like Kareem McNeil when I grow up. What a fine, fine young man. Kareem was playing for us in the early 70s, and we got word that he had been in a horrible automobile accident. He had been strapped in his seat, but his seat had sheared off level with the car, thrown next to a creek. When the paramedics got there, they had to actually kill some snakes to get to Kareem. And when they saw him, they knew immediately that he was paralyzed. Of course, Coach Stallings stayed with him as much as he could. And Kareem had only been married 4 months. He was an outstanding player. He would have been a rich NFL player. He would have had a wonderful career, but he's paralyzed from the waist down. So months went by, and we are getting ready to play Auburn. Jim Fuller is in charge of scouting Auburn. Coach Dawley's gets me, and he said, "Come down here, I want you to watch this." Kareem comes in his wheelchair, and the physical therapist helped him lock his braces. He had arm crutches, and he took about 5 steps into that team meeting. And I can tell you there was not a dry eye anywhere, and Kareem said, "If I can do this, you can beat Auburn." When we played Auburn, Kareem was in his wheelchair at the end of Legion Field, waving the huge Alabama flag. We're behind. It's 2 minutes left to play. And Freddie Kitchens throws a pass to Dennis Rowe, and he scores a touchdown. There was 2 minutes left to play, and we won 24-23. The touchdown was in the end zone right in front of Kareem. Now, Kareem today is the father of 2 sets of twins. One of his boys, I think, is playing at Clemson for Dabo. Kareem is a professor at the University of Alabama. He makes the most delicious cheesecakes you have ever put in your mouth. And he never, ever, you don't ever see him without a smile on his face. He is a fine, fine young man and a dear, dear friend.
We have about 10 minutes left tonight. And what I'd like to do is to get you to comment, just a brief comment on a number of people that have been a part of Alabama football, if you don't mind. Eddie, I'm going to give it to you, and let me give you some names.
Okay.
Jim Goosetree.
Goosetree was the head trainer. Now Jeff Allen is the head trainer for Coach Saban. But Goosetree was kind of abrupt at the time. I know a boy came to him one time and his leg got a bone sticking out of his blood, running all over things. Goosetree said, "Hey, what's wrong with you?" And boy took my leg. And Goosetree said, "Boy, don't make me laugh, my lips are chapped."
Clem Briscoe.
Oh, God, Clem. And Clem later was head of the museum. Clem played years and he had a hand that was deformed. But Clem was a great guy and he was a good high school coach too, up in Oxford. But just a fine man.
Sam Bailey.
Oh my goodness. Sam he was Coach Bryant's kind of alter ego. He did the peripheral details for Coach Bryant. And really was probably more of a factor in Alabama wins than a lot of people realize.
Lane Kiffin.
Next.
No.
I got to tell something, man.
Go ahead.
David Smith here, one of the top referees in Southeast Conference. I got to tell y'all something that happened to me in Thibodeau, Louisiana. Has anybody ever been to Thibodeau, Louisiana? Yes. Hey, it's about 8 miles below New Orleans. People in Thibodeau think people in Hattiesburg, Mississippi are Yankees. I've got a game, Nicholls State playing Northeast Louisiana. It's on local television and a real big ball game in that part of the country. I'm in the middle of the field, my umpire, and I said, "Okay, bring the captains out." Well, the captains start coming out, I realize I don't have a coin. Cameras are coming in, I looked at my umpire, hey, you got a coin? No, I don't have a coin. I don't have a coin to flip for the ball game, and I'm on the camera. And I'm winging. I said, okay, fellas, y'all come on in here. I said, fellas, this game is so important. We're going to dispense with normal coin toss. I said, I'm going to put a hand behind my back. Give me a number 1 through 5. He said 7. I said, you won the toss.
I gotta tell a good street story. He took care of all of us, and this particular morning, when I got into work, I had pulled my back. So Coach Bailey calls Goose Tree, said, get up here, we need to take care of Linda. So he gets up there and he says, come in here, Coach Bailey's office. And, I said, yes, sir. He said, lay down on that carpet, face down. He straddles me and he puts this hand on this side of my spine, this way, and he goes, and he fixed it. But I had muscle spasms for about 3 days.
Just keep it. I want you to give a sentence or two about 4 different people. Mal Moore.
From Dozier, Alabama.
Doge.
Dozier. Mal was a sweet-hearted, most compassionate man, and when his wife became ill, he visited her every day, but still took care of his job top notch.
Dewey Henderson.
I gotta tell the story I told coming up here. Y'all remember when the ladies first started going to Raleigh? Well, we had one come in the lobby and the reception area. And so they're double doors and it's just a little window at the top. Well, the word got down the hall, there's a Raleigh lady up there. Every coach came up, looked through the glass. But when Dew got there, he had to jump.
Billy Martin.
Oh, the most principled man with the kindest heart. And he loved Coach Bryant dearly. That man was offered a lot of money for a movie or for a book, and he absolutely would not do anything to hurt Coach Bryant. He loved him so much.
You may tell Billy was.
He was a university policeman, but he was assigned to Coach Bryant. He drove him wherever he needed to go. He took Coach Bryant to a doctor's office because Coach had an appointment that morning, and Billy came back to the office. We didn't have cell phones back then. The doctor's office was closed. And Billy had left him there. But anyway, he got back. Kind-hearted Billy, and I loved him.
And finally, Ken Dunn.
Ken Donahue. Ken really liked me because I worked hard. And when he would go hunting up in Montana, they would go backpacking with no supplies except just canned foods. But they would film it, and when he would get back to the office, he'd call me in there and show me their hunting trip. And he would bring me once a week a glass vase with a camellia bush, a camellia bloom off his bush in his yard, floating in water. Kind.
We've come to the last two questions of the evening, and I hate that the hour is late, but this one's for Eddie. And I'll start with you. What has the last 62 years of being associated with Alabama football meant to you and done for you?
Well, as you go through life, you make relationships. You have family relationships, your marital relationships, your relationships through the church, your work. You have different relationships. And we, as alumni of the University of Alabama, have a relationship with our university, but it's kind of a revolving relationship. When you're a freshman, you go to the university, your high school that you came from, maybe about 1,000 students. You now have, you're at a school that has nearly 40,000 students. And by the way, I just heard the president of the university say that this incoming class is the largest we have ever had at the University of Alabama. But you as a freshman, you're kind of intimidated, you're scared, but you have the overall feeling the university is there and it's settled and you couple. The relationship is almost like a parent-child, with the university being the parent and you being the child. But as you kind of go through your university career, it almost takes, as alumni, as that relationship is almost turned into a 180-degree change. It's now we're the parent, and the university is the child, and we're proud of it. We support it. We relish its victories in academics, in sports, and so forth. It's a relationship. We have a relationship with the university, and our relationship with the University of Alabama. Thank you.
I know I want Linda to close. She said, with the story Coach Bryant often talked about. If you would tell the audience, Coach Bryant's saying about there being 2 or 3 major decisions in everyone's life.
That's what he told the team, every team. I think you guys that played know that he told every team that football, the game of football, is like life. You got the field, and you're standing on the goal line. And it's the 10, it's the 20, it's the 30-yard line. Well, you're 10, and you're 20, and you're 30 years old. You're progressing down the field. So what is your goal? You want to score a touchdown, but your goal really is to get to heaven. And as you go down that field, the blocks and the tackles that are thrown at you is the devil trying to prevent you from getting to that goal of going to heaven. So you have a head coach. Our head coach is God. So what is his playbook? It's the Bible. Everything that could ever need to be called in a play is in the Bible. And it could get offense or defense, a play. So you're going down that field. Now you think about the football uniform. In Ephesians it talks about the helmet of salvation. That is, protect your mind from thoughts that you should not have. You got shoulder pads, protects your heart and keeps it pure. You got thigh pads, gird up your loins with the truth. You've got cleats that help you grip the ground and have a solid foundation. So as you watch a football game, think about that it is exactly like life, with those 2 or 3 or 4 decisions you make, where you go to school, the person you marry, the career you choose, or the most important thing, your faith.
You've been such a blessing to so many people, and your work and sacrifice for the Crimson Tide will never be forgotten. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand and thank these two people.
Everybody have a good time tonight.